Chapter 5. The Good That Is in You. The good that is inherent in everything is infinitely greater and more powerful than any imperfection or undeveloped condition that may exist in the outer world. And therefore, when this good is recognized and brought out into real life, that which is not good must disappear. To apply this great truth to yourself, to others, to circumstance, is to place mind and soul in that attitude where conscious contact with the divine perfection in all things will be gained. In consequence, the good that is within will increase, while undesired conditions in without will decrease. To recognize the greater good that is inherent in all things is to cause that good become a greater and greater power in you, until it becomes just as strong in action as it previously was in realization. Live in the conviction that I am greater than all my ills or failures, that I am greater than the limitations in my circumstances, and greater than any conditions that I can possibly meet. When you feel that you are greater than your ills, those ills cannot long remain. Because what you inwardly feel you realize, and what you realize you bring forth into living expression. To open the mind to the great thought that the health that is within you is greater than any disease that you can ever know, is to open your life to a power of that health. And when the greater power of the health that is within you comes forth into the life of every atom in your being, the lesser power of disease, weakness, or adverseness must vanish completely. No disease can long remain in your system after you begin to live in the constant conviction that the absolute health that is within you is infinitely greater and more powerful than all the sickness in the world. Nor can failure continue after you begin to realize that you, in the reality of your whole being, have the power to turn a tide of any circumstance that may even appear in your world. The good that is within you is larger and more powerful than all the troubles, misfortunes, or disappointments in existence. And this good, when fully recognized by you, will begin to work for you. It will work for your good and will turn to good accounts everything that can happen. When you know that you are greater than any undeveloped condition that may exist in mind or body, you gain the power to transcend limitations. Your consciousness begins to break bonds, and you find yourself in that larger, richer mental world that you so long have desired to reach. You are placed in touch with the universal and begin to draw upon the limitless for wisdom and power and joy. You no longer feel cramped, but realize that you are absolutely free to live the largest, the best, and the most beautiful life that you can possibly picture. The ideals that you discover during the highest flights of mind and soul are no longer considered impossibilities. You know that you can realize them all. To you there is no failure, because the good that is within you is greater than all failure. You are above limitations. You are a master of limitations and have the power to transform every undeveloped condition into the highest form of completeness and superior worth. The lesser is passing away, and the greater is being realized in ever-increasing measure. The good that is inherent in others is infinitely greater than all their faults, shortcomings, or imperfections. Therefore, we can readily forgive them for all these. There is more in man than the undeveloped surface, and it is this more that we will recognize, love, and admire. When anyone goes wrong, we will not criticize or complain. We cannot criticize anyone without harming everybody concerned, ourselves included. Nor can we think well of anyone without helping everybody concerned, ourselves included. And everybody wants the best to happen to everybody. To live in constant recognition of the weaker side of human nature is to open the mind to weakness, discord, failure, and happiness. We steadily grow into the likeness of that which we think of the most. But to live in constant spiritual touch with the great good that exists in everyone is to open the mind to strength and happiness that cannot be measured. The most beautiful moments in life are realized when we feel that we are one with God and one with that something in man that is created in the image of God, and these moments may become eternal. Whatever we may meet in life, we should always remember that the good within all things is far greater than anything that may appear on the surface, and that this greater good will finally rule the day. When this good is to reign supremely and our world will depend upon us and us alone, the superior within us is always ready and will come forth into tangible expression whenever we are ready to receive it. But we are not ready until we give the greater good in all things the first thought, no matter what the circumstances may be. Whatever may come, meet it all with the thought that the good within is greater still. The good that is inherent in all things is always greater and more powerful. The greatest thing in and without are insignificant in comparison. Therefore, we can readily understand how easily the circumstances and conditions in the external world could be changed for the better, provided the all-powerful good within us was called forth into tangible action. And now we smooth the pathway of life when we realize that there is a greater good in everything we meet. How kindly we feel towards all persons and all events. Nothing seems adverse anymore, and what we previously looked upon as obstacles are now stepping stones in attainment. We recognize the greater good in all things. We opened our minds to the wisdom and power that is contained in this greater good, and in consequence, we are inspired by every circumstance and enriched by every experience. We gain something from everything we pass through, and every event, however adverse, simply tends to arouse more and more of the real greatness within. Even evil, in all of its forms, becomes a lifting power in our world, because we are in constant touch with the greatest good that is back of and above all evil. We are not crushed by the ills and the wrongs that may exist about us, but instead we are inspired to greater thoughts, greater deeds, and a greater life. All things serve us because we have found that greater good in all things that is ever waiting to serve. We have to become friendly with the best that is in the world, and the best is becoming friendly with us in return. The great and good are many, but he who loves with such a love that with his love some other soul has scaled the heights and there beheld what life eternal holds in store for man, has wrought the noblest of them all. Then give me such a love in boundless measure. Give me the love of some inspired soul whose living presence, far and strong, can spur me on and onto greater heights than human life has ever reached before. Some pure and tender heart who knows the sacred longings of the life supreme within that must ascend and evermore ascend. Some fair, illumined soul whose spirit dwells within the vision of transcendent realms on high, and knows that I am made for such a place. Then life shall be a life indeed to me. My sacred longings all shall be fulfilled, and every good that I can wish for shall be mine. For all the joys of earth and all of heaven's ecstasy sublime abide for evermore in such a love. End of chapter.